What is the worst reason someone has used to reject you? She was into really fat dudes, and I was only kinda fat. You dodged a bullet, chubby. If he was any fatter, would be pretty damn hard to miss. I like you too much. I look at you and think what an amazing mother you would be to our kids, and I don't want to be with someone I like that much. Edit. This had 7 upvotes before I went to bed. Thanks for all the commiserations. This was 15-ish years ago, so even though it took a while to get over, it's all good now. Turns out he was right. I'm a good wife and mother, just not with him. My college boyfriend said the same thing. He was afraid of getting too serious so young, but thought I was perfect wife material. What? That sounds like something I would do. He probably was thinking that he was protecting you from himself. My roommate's cat is really sick and needs to go to the vet. Can you take me home? I've got the only car in the house. 1 week later. Hey, how's the cat doing? What cat? If you're gonna lie, at least remember it for a week. I was on a really awkward coffee date. I had already mentioned I was heading to my parents' place for dinner that evening, a couple hours after the start. Maybe an hour into the date, I just wanted out. I mentioned I was gonna head to my parents then instead, and when he asked so early, I told him I wanted to play with their dog. Not my finest moment, but that date was going awfully bad. I'm really into you, but I still think I want to be with my boyfriend for a few more months. But when he goes back to Pennsylvania, we can start going out. I'm not a TV dinner. You can't pop me in the freezer and think I'll be ready to heat up when you're ready for me. She was totally trying to keep you on her hook. At least she was honest about it. Probably worked before. When I was 14, my best friend wrote me a 2-page breakup letter. In the letter she explained that she needed to improve her social standing and that she couldn't do that and still be associated with me. She outlined her 14-step plan to become popular, and apparently step 3 was to cut ties with all her unpopular or weird friends. I only read a few lines before I gave it back and told her she was a moron, that it was a stupid plan, and that she could do all that and still be unpopular. She just smiled sadly and wished me well in life, unfriended me from everything, and refused to even look at me for 2 months. Well, eventually she realized her plan was and that her relationship with the popular kids actually got worse because of it, sort of like the end half of Mean Girls, and came crawling back. I like to think I handled that whole situation with maturity and grace, but it really messed me up for a while, and it's still one of the most hurtful things a person has ever done to me. Edit. So she's still my best friend and I love her very much. Everybody does mean when they're kids. I did some pretty hurtful stuff to her as well during school. We're adults now, and we understand that there's more important than being popular. She's one of the greatest things in my life, and I'm lucky to have her. She still writes me 2-page letters and her handwriting is tiny. Also, what is up with all these teen girls writing breakup letters to their friends? We can't have all been that dramatic. Didn't get asked out on a second date in college because my FP was too high. FP equals fat potential. Wait, what? Potential to become fat? Probably. I wonder if ops parents are large and some people assume you will turn out like your parents. Nope, my parents weren't large. IDKY, he thought it was a thing. I have lupus and the guy said I don't want you to die. Before I do, he then proceeded to go for the crackhead with multiple DUIs. Nanny, head explodes. I felt like I was with a child because I have dwarfism. I don't blame her at all for feeling that way, and it's a totally justified reason to not feel attraction towards me, but did that do a number on my self-esteem? Edit. I'm 4 feet tall, and I have achondroplasia, the same disproportionate form as Peter Dinklage. Damn man. I don't have dwarfism, but I'm really short, so my feelings are hurt for you. Edit. And here we have it, my most loved comment of all time, stopping me asking for my height. Lol. My parents found out your black hangs up. Edit. I was in 9th grade when this happened. We had been talking on the phone and texting for half of that year before he dropped this bomb on me. I ended up moving away, further south, and he called me out of the blue once we both moved out of our parents' house and into college dorms. Stupid me was reasoning with myself maybe moving out has broadened his horizons. Not even 2 minutes into the call he began laughing, asking why I sound like a black girl. and started mocking me. I've always received the exact opposite response. Wow, you talk so proper, or you sound like a white girl. So yes, indeed, they did me a favor, but it hurt nonetheless. This was in 2012. That's a big oof. I don't like girls that play RPG, says the lifelong RPG nerd. You must have been too good at grinding. Or not good enough at grinding. High school girlfriend broke up with me after 2 years saying it was God's will we break up. God just did you a solid. I pardoned you. I got the privilege of being the C if I could do this relationship after a divorce. After doing the whole meet the family, talk about moving in, blah blah blah. Go out to dinner one night, they dropped to the effect of thanks for giving me the confidence to know that I can put myself out there again. As they explained it, they just needed to know if they could even go through the motions of a relationship. Well, at least you probably have a clue why they are divorced. Thanks for giving me the confidence to know that I can handle a 10-year-long marriage. You may go now. A guy who brought me to a coffee shop under the guise of a date and broke it off after we'd sat there for an hour talking about a movie he suggested I watch and told me he didn't think I could handle his anxiety. Turns out his anxiety was really another girl he was dating at the same time as me. I'd have just preferred the truth. People try so hard to not hurt each other's feelings or not feeling like a villain, they straight up forget the plain truth can be easier to process and move on from. My ex would cancel plans at the last minute and explain in great detail it was so that I'd be disappointed, which would make her feel guilty, which would in turn make the guilt a form of self-punishment for disappointing me in the first place, and also so that we wouldn't do the thing she wanted to do, which would make her disappointed by that fact as a further form of self-punishment for causing the disappointment, all of which would mean that I had inflicted negative emotions on her, that is the guilt and disappointment, so that she could be angry about the whole thing. Mercifully that particular relationship didn't last too long. The old I did something wrong, but I'm so upset with myself that I'm the victim card. Never gets old. I just don't want to be in a relationship right now. Then a week later she's dating someone else. Just tell me the truth. That you don't want to date me hurts a lot less than being lied to like that. A girl once told me that she can't date me because her brother goes to the same school as us. I understand, but then I see her dating some guy a month later who goes to the same school as us. Sorry, I only like tall boys. Is 6'1" not tall enough for you? Are you not entertained? I like you. I just can't handle your gay side. After she had outed me to my entire high school for being bi, she broke up with me after that. Up, geez, you trust someone enough to tell them that, and then they go and run their mouth about it. No wonder all the bi men are hiding. Worst part is, I didn't tell her. She read through my Skype and found out. Apparently I cared too much, and it just wasn't fair to him that he couldn't possibly care as much about me as I did for him. Me up a bit, because that's just how I am, but whatever. I care about people, and I'm sorry you were threatened by that. Great. Then you can go find someone who loves that about you and cares right back. You're right, and I have, and I'm much better off now. His exact words: I would date you, but I don't want my friends making fun of me for dating a fat chick. Years later, and I think of this every time I look in the mirror. /edit. Me and the guy were hooking up at the time. I had zero intention of dating him as he was 2 years younger than me and did not give any indication that I wanted to date, which made the statement confusing. 4 years later, and the guy still saved my number and Snapchat. He hits me up when he's in town to hook up. I always say no. Last time he texted me was last week. What makes it gross is he has a GF and tries to cheat on her any chance he gets. I blocked his hash in Snapchat, creeped out because he still thinks of me. Finally, something I can answer. I had a girl reject me, say I can't date you because what if we go on a date to somewhere with stairs? I'm in a wheelchair. They see me rolling. They hat him. In first grade my crush was asking around if someone could tie his shoes because I guess he didn't know how to. Me wanting to tie his shoes and maybe talk to him said I'll tie your shoes. And then he just said these shoes are a different tie. One stupid reason and one broken-hearted 6-year-old. You dodged a bullet. Dude couldn't even tie his own shoe.